Thank you guys so much for being here. And Brianna, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Welcome to Solo Arts Heal. This is our partner with the Marsh Theater. We can't thank you guys enough for having us over here. We are ANCAN. Um, and to any of our guests here, thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Today's guest is John Maxwell. So, John is a business leader who's been in the business arena for about 30 years. He has a background in coaching and business leadership training. However, he prefers to call himself a poet. So, that's why we're here tonight. He's based in Chicago. He's an actor in community theater. He's a huge sports fan, and of course, he is a writer. We're going to talk to him today about his health journey, and I'll let him expand on that, as well as his #1 Amazon book of inspirational poetry, Hammering Nails. And I'm really excited that we get to hear some poetry from that book right here live. John, the floor is yours. Please come in. I feel like I should open a door for you. There should be a door here.
Thank
Welcome to
you.
Solar Arts Heal. Please
Thank you.
introduce yourself.
John Maxwell, I've been, after spending about 15 years in corporate America, I spent the last 22 years doing sales training and leadership coaching. And that's been a great blessing. But when I was 12 years old and struggling with adolescence or even pre-adolescence, I took a poetry writing course. I think I was in the sixth or seventh grade. And and that was a revelation for me because I began writing down things and what I was feeling and what I was struggling with, and so it became a real refuge for me. And so I continued to write all throughout high school and college, and I went away from a while, and then I've returned to it in adulthood. And so that's why I consider myself primarily a poet, because it's where my passion lies. But I've got a wonderful family. I've got a wife and two sons and a daughter-in-law and a grandson, and they're really the center of my world. And so I live in
Beautiful.
Chicago. So
Beautiful. Well, we appreciate you being here just to share your poetry because you have a health journey. And so I'd like
yeah.
to hear your side of that. Let's get to
So
it.
this story started a while ago, but I was consistently getting um, my physical exams like I'm supposed to, and I was getting tests for something called PSA. And if you're men above 50, you know what that is.
Hmm.
It's the indicator of prostate cancer. And so I would get it tested every year. And over time, we noticed it was just a little bit on the high side. And the doctors were watching it very closely, doing tests here and there. And then um, about this time last year, actually, no, really in the spring of 2024, it started to rise.
Okay.
And we became concerned. And and then it got into the fall. And so that's when I got some further testing from my medical team, my doctors. And finally, they decided we're going to do a scan. And they saw something. And and they did a little bit more testing. And they said, we want to get a biopsy of that. And December 27th, I learned that I have high risk prostate cancer.
Oh, there it
And
is.
that was a big shock because I just never thought that was going to arrive for me. And so that was a difficult period for me because um, getting diagnosed with prostate cancer, I was surrounded by just some wonderful, supportive family and friends, and yet it can still feel like we're alone. Um, and so that was a difficult time in late December and early January, and I just started scrambling around to really find my way. And so I was learning a lot of things. I was referred by a friend to ANCAN, And when I attended the first meeting, that was a revelation for me to be in a room with 25 or 30 other men who had the same situation as I did. It felt comforting because there was some understanding and fellowship there. Um, but I was talking to many doctors and researching many treatments, and finally I settled on I had a great medical team, and we decided to do some hormone therapy, surgery, and radiation therapy, and that began in really February, and uh, and that was quite a journey. And so I really finished my last radiation treatment in mid-June, and now that I'm not cured, it's not over, but it's a major step along the way, and so I'm still on the path. I'm still in the journey, and that's been um, a very deep experience for me. And I've been blessed to be
Yeah.
surrounded by some great people that have been supporting me along the way.
And this has been pretty recent then. So you were just diagnosed, if I got this timeline correct, you were just diagnosed in December or January,
Mhm.
just up the road basically. So it sounds like this is all still very new to you, even though you mentioned ANCAN and learning a lot and filling yourself up with knowledge, really.
Yeah,
Um, there's still a lot to process. There's a lot to oh, what's the word? To process, to ruminate on. Um, and I guess that's why we're here too. We're here too to listen to you speak about that process because I think it's so important to have some sort of creative therapy. So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey in with poetry and writing and how this all plays into that?
yeah, definitely. I think writing is always therapy.
Yeah.
Um, it's writing's always therapy because you can't write anything meaningful from a purely intellectual frame.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I noticed that when I was writing poetry, it was often when I was in a period of darkness and struggle, when I was really challenged. And I would sit down and I would pour that emotion onto the page. And so, when you get to be my age, you've had a few periods of struggle and challenge in your life. And so, as I captured all of those, and I published my first book of poetry in 2022,
Mhm.
uh, to go back and reread some of those poems, I was able to see myself back in that space again and how I faced struggle and challenge then. But I really think the creativity gives us a chance to pour some of ourself out on the paper and get it out of our head. That's what was important to me.
Getting it out of your head, getting out of your head and into a place where in my opinion, I feel like it's more tangible because you have the words
Mhm.
literally on the page. It's tangible. If you go over that, I feel like when I'm writing, I feel like I can what's the word? Sometimes I can feel those feelings again sometimes, depending on what it is. It's very visceral sometimes.
Yeah, I think of my poems as emotional sponges.
Yes,
As I
yes.
write those words down on the paper, they're capturing and they're soaking up that moment of what I was feeling right then.
Hmm.
And I can go back to that place as I read the poem again to myself. That's why it's therapy. Um, and maybe the poem really is expressing my own sense of vulnerability.
Yeah,
And so I feel that again.
yeah,
Um, but it can also express my own sense of um, really assertiveness and facing a challenge. And so when I reread some of these poems, it really brings that back to me again. And so that's why um, these poems are so important to me. And some of them really trace key events in my life. Um, I want to talk about the intersection of poetry and cancer.
Yes, please do.
Um, I lost my mother in December of 2008, and we were very close. And I spent the last 5 days of her life. I lived in the hospital room with her, and we had great conversations about her life and everything she'd done. And it was actually sounds very strange, but it was beautiful because
No, I
she
don't
and
think
I
that's
were both,
strange at all. So,
oh yeah, we were both
no.
authentically there.
Yeah.
And I wrote a poem with her while I was in the room. And I read this to her before she passed. And it's very meaningful to me. Can I read it?
Yeah, please do. Please read it.
This poem is called To Mother, What You Gave to Me. When I was just the bundle in your tummy sleeping tight, I couldn't yet see where to go, and then you gave me light. When I was just an infant, fearful crying in the storm, you held me to your bosom. In the dark, you kept me warm. When I was just a young boy struggling with my youth, I wondered which the path to pick, and then you gave me truth. When I was off to college, my hope and money wearing thin, I thought that I could not come home, and then you took me in. When I was off to see the world, I left you all behind, and when I found it cold and hard, to me you were so kind. When I was at my lowest point, a struggle just to cope, I was doubting everything, and then you gave me hope. Every time I flung myself out into the unknown, you were always with me. I was never far from home. And though when you're not with me, you're never far away, I feel the warmth, the hope, the love every morning, every evening, every day. And I read that to her before she passed.
What was that moment like reading it to her?
Um, and and I was sitting in a chair at her bedside, and I had a notepad and I was scribbling it out there. And but when I read it to her, it meant something to me. Here's what it was. How can I sum up everything my mother meant to me and tell her that and have her hear that when she's there? And she and we both understood what was happening. But for me to say that, it was liberating for me because I don't think I told her anything she didn't know in her heart.
Mm.
But to say that to her and to speak that into her at that moment, I think it probably meant a lot to both of us.
Really, I feel it when you speak about her. I feel it when you talk about that moment. That's such a it powerful isn't even the right word to describe it. And it's really making me think that I need to do something like this for my own mother because life is just so precious. It's so short. It's so precious. There's people like our moms mean so much to us. And so to for you to write a poem like this for somebody who is so close to you, that must have just been um what's the word? It was actually tangible. The love that you felt for her, she could
Yeah.
feel it, grab hold of it.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm going to say something that may at first sound odd,
Mhm.
but it's not. When she did pass, I held her hand, I kissed her hand, and I said goodbye to her. And then when I walked out of the hospital room and left her behind with the staff, I felt like she and I were both liberated
Wow.
because I had that sense of closure and completeness. and the writing and the poetry gave me that. And
Right.
now I read that poem and I get emotional with it just to read it again because it puts
No,
me
I
right
get
back
it.
there with her.
I can,
So that
yeah, I can see it.
so so writing has been a a tool for me to make sense of a lot of different challenges in life. And I wrote a poem about how we face those challenges.
Hmm.
And it's a poem called The Edge. May I read it?
Yeah. Now, before that, can I just ask though, your
Hmm.
poem, To Mother What You Gave Me, is that in your book, Hammering Nails? It is, right?
It is in my book, Hammering
Okay,
Nails.
good, good, perfect.
Right.
Brianna, can we just show everyone what hammering nails looks like? Just so I know it's on your background, but just so everybody is clear, that this is the book that he's talking about,
Yes,
his published number one on Amazon. And so I just wanted to put that out there just in case people are wondering whether or not they can read to Mother What You Gave to Me.
yes.
Um, thank you so much, Brianna. We can go back
There
to
are 50
John.
poems in there, and I'm
Yeah,
working on the second edition, so there'll be more.
perfect. Beautiful. Thank you.
Um, I'm gonna make a declaration here that
Mm-hmm.
um, the net proceeds from all the books I sell from now until the end of September, I'm going to donate to ANCAN.
You're gonna donate them?
Yes, so
Oh,
it's what ANCAN has meant to me because
wow.
when I'm struggling with this thing called cancer and
Yeah,
I've got to go through my daily life, I can't quit, right?
yeah, yeah.
When I get there and I'm in the presence of all those men, and I call them heroes, right? There's a fellowship. I don't need to explain anything to them. They immediately understand me,
Stand. Yep.
right? So that's what I want to do here. So
You guys heard it here first.
okay,
Thank you,
very good.
John.
So I want to read The Edge.
Yes, let's go for it.
This one's important to me as well. Very important. The Edge. One day I realized that everything I learned when I left the comfort for the edge. At 13, the edge was the dance floor I could not cross. With all the eyes upon me, my confidence was lost, till pounding pulse and sweaty palms pushed me across the floor to talk to the freckled faced red haired girl standing by the door. At 18, the edge was sitting on my bed, one last time before I go, to leave behind the safety of the only place I'd ever known. Heavy bags with luggage tags carried everything I own, and yet they could not carry the feeling I was home. It was courage at the edge to walk out the front door and leave behind the company I spent a decade working for. The walk to the parking lot, an unfamiliar path, but the only way was forward. There was no way back. A momentary panic found me in the car, but I remembered all I am and how I'd come this far. It was loving at the edge to stay beside my mother's bed and hold her hands as bit by bit the cancer spread. I whispered to her words of love and stories of her life, of all she meant to all of us on better days and better nights. And finally came the silence that told me it was time. I whispered to her one last prayer, kissed her hand, and said goodbye. Time and time and time again, I ventured to the edge, fighting off the voices of panic in my head. In the comfort of the middle, there's no chance for growth or gain, no need for bravery or heroes, no courage, no medals, no pain. All the things worth having are waiting at the edge, guarded by the demons of fears and monsters in your head. At the edge, you have a moment as you stare across the gap to bravely press on forward or timidly turn back. All along life's journey, you'll leave a lot of things behind. But at the edge, when all is said, is where your life's defined.
At the edge, where all is said, is where your life's defined.
I, I just think we go through our lives and we come to moments in our life. And the passing of my mother was a moment.
Yeah,
Leaving a company and starting my leaving one company and starting a business was a moment.
yeah,
But we have those all the time, and we come up to that edge, and how are we going to face it? And what are we going to do? And for me, my cancer diagnosis was another step to the edge. How will I face
yeah,
it? What will I do? It's a choice, right?
exactly. It's a choice.
And so I read this poem and it reminds me, okay, we're here again. All right. And we want to face it with courage. We want to face it with assertiveness and just you know
Now, is this poem a poem that you came back to after having written it and after your cancer diagnosis? Is it maybe something that
yes.
just popped into your head to
So
come back to it?
yeah, this is something I come back to because
Mm.
again, wouldn't it be great if we could go through life and not face adversity?
Oh, that would be
Um,
amazing.
yeah, but that's not
Please.
real. And by the
No,
way, it
it's
may not
not.
even be amazing, right? But I wrote that as facing perspective on a lot of adversity, but I didn't write it when I had cancer.
Mm.
And some of my close people closest to me, family and friends, they said, "Oh, you're going to write some amazing poems now because you're in this cancer journey."
Oh, uh-huh.
And it really hasn't developed that way. I've written a couple, maybe two or three,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it hasn't been this explosion of creativity that I thought it might be. And I think it was my mind too cluttered.
I was gonna say that sounds about right. I feel like it takes there's just so much that's happened to you in such a short period of time. I just wonder if somewhere along the line, maybe you just need some time to digest, some time to
Yes,
um, let the let the emotions happen, perhaps. It just
yes.
yeah.
Uh, As I was processing this, I said there have been many great poems written about war,
Mm.
but perhaps none of them were written on the battlefield.
Oh, yes. What a great analogy. None of them were
So,
written on the battlefield. That's so
so
right.
I'm still on the battlefield,
Yeah, yeah.
but as I like to say, the really intense part of my treatment is behind me.
There
Um,
we go.
the radiation and the surgery is behind me, so I've still got a long journey, right?
You still have a long journey, but you still have a long journey, and I'm sure that there's still a lot more that you can learn, especially after going through your treatment. But I just feel like the edge is such a, what's the word? It's so precisely accurate as far as
Mhm.
how one can face these problems, how not how you should, but how one can face these problems.
All the things worth having are waiting at the edge, guarded by
Oh,
the demons of fears and monsters in our head.
my God, that's beautiful.
And that's what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I really looked at what's happening with me right now. Okay, it's that moment again. We're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're here. And I get to
Here
choose
again.
how I'm going to deal with this.
You get to choose what kind of attitude you can have going forward. And those feelings are always going to be there, the raw emotions, the which I felt in your poem, the raw emotion of uncertainty, of being
Right.
on the edge. But now what are you gonna
So
do?
I will let you know
Mhm.
that the emotional heat of the last 6 months is beginning to cool slightly, and my poetry muscle is returning.
Oh, there we go.
And so, for me, um, my method is I have to sit. My writing comes from a place of emotion and feeling, not
Mhm.
intellect. Can't.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
But as I reflect on what's going on, and I can be in that moment, even though I'm not in that moment, but I can take myself back there. As I feel it, I just sit down and I write and I write and I write and I write. And somewhere in that just that pile of words,
Mm,
a poem will emerge. But I have to write too much first.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But it's very much like clay on the potter's wheel, right?
Oh, mm-hmm.
You don't know what it's going to be, but you have to start with what it is,
You have to start with what it is. That's exactly it. And
right?
your mindset is going to reflect what comes out. And so I imagine it's the same with writing and journaling and poetry.
It is. You touched on a key word. I want to talk about mindset.
Mm,
Um, Cancer is something that we didn't ask for. It's not who I am. Um, it's it's something that it's here, and I got to deal with it.
mhm.
But it's not who I am. And I have seen some people around me who were dealing with it in maybe some unproductive ways. And so I made a decision that um, I wanted to face this on my terms. We talk about the 5 stages of grief, right?
Yes, yeah,
And
I'm
I don't
familiar.
know if people learning about cancer go through those stages or not, but I think I did, right?
Hmm.
And not all at once, but in fits and starts. But when I reached acceptance, it didn't mean I was accepting the cancer. I was accepting where I am.
Yes, yes, that's a really important distinction too. You're
Yeah,
accepting your place in this journey.
here's where I am. Like, I
Yes,
don't want to be here, but
but
I'm here, right?
here's where I am. I am not this moment. This moment does not
Right,
define me, but I'm just
right.
here.
And so that's why I think the role of our outlook and how we choose to face
Mm,
it is enormously important, because our mindset and our outlook
yeah,
will cause us to make 100 tiny decisions every day, slightly differently.
that's such a good way to put it too, because I haven't been able to put words to that exact thought the way you
Well,
have.
and so as we make those tiny decisions along the way
Hmm.
that make a difference,
They all
all
add
of those
up.
decisions collectively make a big difference, right?
True. They all add up. Yeah.
So I'll tell you one thing I did. I changed my diet and I lost some weight, and nobody told me to do it, right? I just said, okay, I'm
Hmm.
doing this, right? I'm working out and lifting weights more. It's
Hmm.
good for me here, right? I'm doing that.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm making lots of little decisions like that. And so I think if I had a message for anybody who's facing cancer right now and they're new in that journey, um, you've got to go through your whole process of processing it. That's real. But then I also want to encourage them to say, okay, I'm here. Now, what am I going to do? Um,
Hmm.
I wrote one that expresses my attitude of conviction about how I'm going to do this. And it was a poem, and this is going to sound weird, but I wrote this, a lot of it, when I was stuck in a traffic jam on the expressway.
That's funny. That's a good.
Now I finished it later, but
Yeah.
that's where it came from. So it's called "Strong Against the Storm." May I read it?
Yeah. Yeah, please.
And this is one of my anthems. Um, right now, strong against the storm. Hurricanes come, winds blow, fires blaze. There are times when I feel certain there is little left within me that can stand against the storm. My little boat is battered, ripped asunder, torn and tattered. My tender soul feels shattered by the gusts of raging storms. But there's a daylight deep within me, a candle's flame to bring me whole and part the soul within me from the darkness to the door. I seek the safety and the silence, a place of refuge from this violence where I can stand in full defiance against the outside world at war. The quiet soul within me has the strength and love to give me the space to finally, clearly see me and simply know that I am more. All the worries that come to call to my fragile soul are not at all the tempest that I feared might fall. They're simply shadows, nothing more. I am not a boat that's tossed about. I am the wind and rain and gales that shout. I am the hurricane that makes strong men doubt. I am the harbor and I am the shore. Whether wind or rain or thunder's hammer brings chaos to my door, I will quiet it with a whisper, standing strong against the storm. And
That was
that's my battle cry
beautiful.
against cancer.
That's your battle cry. I could feel it. I could feel it in the words that you expressed it so well too. And honestly, I could feel it. I could visualize it too. And I feel like for me, it's such a powerful visual. Literally standing up against the storm, literally standing up against the wind, trying to figure out how to brave this thing that's happening to you.
Yeah, it's it's cancer can and an illness of many kinds, right? Can feel like a
Yeah.
storm that we've been just
Oh
thrust
yeah.
into, right?
Oh yeah.
Um,
Out of nowhere sometimes too.
right, right. But it doesn't have to be debilitating. It can be something that
Mhm.
we face with courage.
And
And
again, it's about that mindset too, I think.
yeah, there was I talk to myself a lot. Wow, that's a
Mm,
surprise, right? I
me
talk to
too.
myself a lot, but um, one of the things I said was, okay, cancer, you're messing with the wrong guy. I'm bringing it to you. I'm not messing around.
Uh-huh.
And so I got a great medical team, but I asked one of my doctors, okay, early on, I said, okay, I don't want to mess around with this.
Yeah.
And I said, I want the most aggressive, reasonable treatment that you could recommend. And that's why we came up with the triple treatment, the 3 phases.
There we
And it
go.
was great advice. Not always easy, right? Not always easy, but I'm beating it.
You're beating it, and again, it's that mindset. I can imagine um sitting at the doctor's office and waiting for results, perhaps just waiting to talk with the doctor and what that must feel like, but then drawing up that courage to just be in the moment and face what's coming up
Right,
next.
right. When I went to my daily radiation treatments,
Yeah.
right, it was okay. Now cancer's going to get a butt whipping. All right.
There
It's
we
happening.
go.
It's happening right now. We're doing it. Okay. Here we go. Right.
And for anyone in the audience, I want you guys to just imagine yourself, all of this courage as you're sitting down in the radiation chair. Just see if you can pull up that courage. You might not look like you have that courage. You might not know that you look like you have that courage, but you can summon it. It is possible.
Here's what you said, something that's very important and truthful. Um, all of us in the long story of our life, we have we have moments when we were courageous. Every single one of us. I don't care if we were 10 years old, right?
We
Or
were
30 or
courageous.
50, but we've had moments when we were courageous, right? So all we need to do is summon that, right?
Yes, yes.
Bring that back to the fore again, right?
Bring that back to the fore. Now, I do want to put it out there, because you did talk about going to ANCAN for that mental health closure, that mental
Yeah,
health, uh, I don't want to call it therapy, but you're with a bunch of other men who are going through the same thing or
yes,
similar things. And I want to throw it out there to people in the audience
good.
that ANCAN does provide this. And these are free virtual groups. So this is, you can be literally anybody in the world. So if you find that you might need some help summoning that same courage and bravery that we're talking about here, that's okay. You can get that help, and we are here for you because we're all peers, okay? John attends our meetings every week, so there's always going to be a certain group for you, and we do have different. I believe it's four different cancer stages groups that we have. So um, I do want to ask if you know about our creative writing class, just to kind of throw it in there too.
Yes, yes. There's a wonderful facilitator there in the creative writing class, and what she did very well is she brought people in there maybe who weren't writers,
Mm,
but they were intrigued by it, and so there were weekly assignments, and she would say, "Okay, I want you to take this topic and write on it.
yeah.
Take this topic and write on it." And I'm a journaler. Whip out my journal. And if if you take a topic like that, that's some aspect of the treatment, right? Your experience, the emotions, and you write on that for 15 minutes, it's
Okay.
impossible for you not to feel better and have perspective. So the creative writing segment was terrific. Really enjoyed that.
I love that. Regina is the one who heads that, and she does throw out some very thought-provoking writing prompts out there.
Yeah.
So again, we will say it again at the end of this this presentation, more about the writing class, but I just wanted to throw it out there in case anybody in the
Yes.
audience wants a little bit more in their lives, okay? And also art class too, which I'll talk to y'all about later too. But I want to get back to another one of your poems, John. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about your next one?
Yeah. So this one also was not written during my cancer journey, but it is about how we go out into the world every day, all of us, right? And we are misunderstood, we are labeled, we are judged. And 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 I've reflected on this poem very much, because cancer is a bit like that. And I want to tell you that um, I was very cautious about sharing my cancer situation with people,
Yeah,
telling them about
yeah,
my journey. And so I slowly were bringing people into this circle. And I realized that at some level, look, I get to decide what's private in my life.
yeah,
But
of course.
sometimes it felt like I was keeping a secret. And secrets are always shrouded in, or often shrouded in shame.
Yeah,
And that shouldn't be true. So this poem I wrote 2 or 3 years ago, and I wrote it while I was lying in bed in the morning, and I was reflecting on this effect. So this one's called "I Am Me." For just a moment when I wake, there is this quiet, sacred space. Within the blanket's soft embrace, I feel protected, warm, and safe. No angry voices scolding me with hurtful words dismissively. No stares of people judging me with eyes that look but cannot see. I am perfect and undiminished, as a work of art yet unfinished, a perfect soul still unblemished. knowing I am loved and cherished. Within this solitude, I can be what those around me cannot see, my soul and self in unity of perfect oneness. I am me. Um,
Beautiful.
and so I am me says there is a central true self, right? Um, that I live with, and that only the people really closest to me know.
Hmm.
And when I'm out there and people are judging me, or I'm going through bad experiences and this and that, in that moment when I lie in bed in the dim light of dawn, I can say, okay, I am me. I'm right here, right now, and that's me.
I'm right here and right now.
Yeah, and so it's very, very much about being present.
Which I think is it again, we're going back to that word mindset. It's about going back to the present. This poem is about going back to the present, but then also back to yourself too. Because in
Yeah,
my own personal journey, I suppose, I've had a hard time finding myself because of illness. And so I
mhm.
imagine it feels like you felt the same way. Like it was hard to come back to yourself. There's all this flurry of things happening around you, but in those moments, the early hours of the morning when you're by yourself, you're in bed, it's quiet, you're by yourself, you can feel that you are you.
Yes,
It's such a beautiful way to describe that.
yes. Especially when I was going through the flurry of treatments and doctors and hospitals and back and forth and medicines and radiation. I was just on the go constantly.
Yes.
That began to become my identity.
Mm,
Because I'd wake up in the morning, I say, okay, what pills do I need to take? What office do I need to go to get what test? Um, and that can be consuming. And so I had to pull part of mindset, right? Pull myself out of that. I'm still doing it, but it's not who I am. It's just something I'm doing here.
and the picture you painted within your poem I Am Me, it's just such a very intimate moment where
Yeah.
you're there, you're in what I would consider a vulnerable place physically. You're in
Right.
bed, maybe you just woke up. That's just I get a lot of visuals when
Yeah.
I hear you describe these moments. Um, it's just we have so many of those moments that are hard to I don't know, it's hard to reflect on those moments in my opinion just because like you said, we're stuck in this flurry and then we tend to become our treatments. We tend to become our situation.
So that's another really important point. Um, ANCAN also creates the opportunity for men facing these
Mm,
challenges to just to get together and talk. Now,
mhm.
I have been blessed in my journey to have a wonderful guide or mentor who helped me out, and I could call him anytime I want. Even today, I can call him anytime, and he answers the phone, and he's just been wonderful. Um, and one of the things I realized is he really didn't do anything magical other than really just listen
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe reflect on what I was saying. And so I was so moved by that. I have had the opportunity to give back and serve as that guide or mentor for a couple of other men. And that's meaningful because in some way, aren't we all just rescuing ourselves?
Yeah, we are, and it's thanks to people like you who are willing to put yourselves out there
Right.
for other people and for other men to
Right.
help them pick themselves up again. And we do have a speaking freely series Have you been to that to those
I have
men
not been to the
speaking
Speaking
freely?
Freely
Mm,
series, but I've
gotcha.
heard wonderful things about it,
Good.
and it's something I may have to sit in on because it gives a safe space for men to talk about
Hmm.
things that are difficult and deeply personal,
Hmm.
and it's very much a safe space. So I
It is a
haven't,
safe space.
I hope to do that.
We have one for women as well. So the safe space to talk about everything. Really, it's in the description. It's everything but your illness. However, of course, our illnesses are very connected to us, so it does come out. But we can talk about anything, anything under the sun, and so it is one of those places I do encourage you. One of those events I do encourage people watching to attend. Now I wanna oh, yes, and we also have one for veterans as well, I should mention that too. So
Okay,
women and men and veterans.
wonderful.
Um, but I do want to um put it out there that if you guys have any questions, you guys in the audience, please let us know. It's that time for Q&A. So we would love to ask, or we would love to read your questions and have John answer them if you guys have any. So we will be watching the chat in the questions area.
Okay.
Forget what it's called, Q&A spot. But we can, if you want, if you have any other poems, I would love to hear more. I really would love to hear more because,
So if I may, and so
yeah.
I when you ask a poet, do you have another poem you could read?
What kind of question is that?
What kind of question is that, right? Um, I I did write this, I said I didn't write very many poems while I was in the midst of treatment, but I did write
Yeah,
this one,
yeah.
and it was for my care team. And I delivered this to them on the last day of radiation treatment, the day I
Last
got to ring
day.
the bell, right?
Yes, yes.
And so I wrote this to Dr. Lee and the radiology team. Um, so this is called Captain Lee and My Superheroes. Cancer thought it could stroll into my house and lounge around. Oh, but this time I've decided I will bring the beast down. Captain Lee and my superheroes arrived just in time today with their beams of radiation to blast the evil beast away. Now I've become the predator and the beast becomes the prey. I will not be cancer's conquest. The evil beast is mine to slay. I will enjoy each sunrise and people I love each day. I will enjoy the songs I sing and games I love to play. I will enjoy a simple meal with friends I've known so long. I will enjoy this life I love because the evil beast is gone. And
Man,
I
that
gave them all a
bell.
copy of that and a big thank you and a hug, right? So,
That makes me so happy that you shared that with them. You gave them a copy, you shared it
oh
with
yeah,
them
yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm sure it meant the world to them to hear from their patients like that. They work so hard and they care so much about their patients. They really do. And so that's really touching. I
yeah.
just have to say, the image that I got, because I'm a very visual person, the image that I got was of you reciting this poem as a little child, arms out like this, arms out like this, with your cape flying in the back, in
Right.
the back with all the wind,
Oh yeah.
uh, beams coming out of your eyes. You're the superhero here.
Yeah. So I
You've
gave them
slayed
a
all the
copy.
monsters.
I gave them a copy of the poem and
Beautiful.
it was decorated with superhero themed stuff. So they were
Yes.
and they and they and they posted that in the lunchroom.
Yes.
So
That
folks could see. So
cherry on top right
um
there.
so let me see. There's a question here. Where did the
Yes.
title Hammering Nails come from?
Yes, yes, I'd like to know that too.
So I I thought about my poems. Really, they were the things that bind me together as a person.
Okay.
And so all of our stories, when we think about ourselves, right?
Mhm.
as individuals, as grown-ups. The person we are today is held together by the joy and the adversity, but all of our stories and experiences are the things that bind us together. And so my poems were very much like hammering nails.
That makes sense. It's almost as if those are the nails that hammer together the piece of carpentry, put it all together, the carpentry of your
So,
life.
one of the poem I wrote is the title poem, and it's in the book called Hammering Nails.
Mm, mhm.
It took me the longest time to write, and I wrote four stanzas in it, and I got stuck at four or six stanzas. And 10 years later, I had to rip those out and start over again. I was able to finish it.
10
And
years later.
I won't steal the story, but the story is about a carpenter. Okay, I'll just say that.
Oh, beautiful. And
Um,
I just want to remind everyone in the audience that we do have a link to his Amazon book. If you would like to purchase it and read more of his poems, please do so. The link is right there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We do have other questions though.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
how does John plan to use his talents as a poet and motivational speaker to help others going through cancer?
Well, that's a darn good question. As I 45 minutes ago, I had no idea I would be, I would be here. So I don't know how it's going to go. Am
Hmm.
I so let me think about that one for a moment
Mm,
and say I think it's really important to help people understand how to navigate this thing. And I think it's about mindset. Motivation's great, but I think it's about mindset. Once you see yourself, as I read in that poem, I'm the predator, right? And the
mm-hmm.
beast becomes the prey. And once you take that mindset, it's helpful. So if I can speak and help people find that
Yeah.
voice in themselves,
Hmm.
they'll begin to make those 100 little decisions every day that matter.
Does this mean we can expect a book tour in the future,
I got a few
maybe?
things on my plate right now, but
Yeah.
thank you for that. Yeah, that'd be
Something to
great.
think about.
That'd be great. Okay. What
Has
else?
cancer changed you? And if so, for better or for worse?
So the answer is unmistakably yes, it has changed me.
Hmm.
And so I'm really sitting with the question, is it better or worse?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say better because um, I realized I had to make some pretty important decisions about my life and how I was living it. And so I lost a bunch of weight. That was not caused by either the cancer or the treatment. And no needles or jabs or anything like that. I just made a choice.
Yeah.
And so that's for the better. I also understand that the most important things I have in life are the close relationships with family and friends and these colleagues I get to work with. So I understand the importance of relationships much more now than I did before.
Mm.
And one last thing, I'm in a hurry.
Mm. You're in a hurry. What do you mean by that?
Um, I understand that um, there are many things I want to get done, and we can say tomorrow, 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 right? Wait, how about we start working on those today?
How about we set some dates?
Right,
Yes.
let's do that.
Yes, just open your calendar, set a date. This is advice I need to give myself. That's a very good
Well,
point.
and so I think all those things are good. Um, one, take care of myself. Two,
Mhm.
focus on the close relationships in my life. And three, get busy. Get
Get
busy.
busy. Get
Right.
busy.
Get stuff done.
So we have another question. Do you think you are now easier or tougher to get along with?
Ah. So that is not for me to answer, right?
Okay, okay.
But here's what I would say, it's not for me to say. I find myself more patient and less reactive.
Oh, okay.
And so when something comes up where I may have had a quick trigger, I say, take a deep breath and I say, okay, what's going on here? Right? How can I understand this? And I'm more apt to be patient and ask questions. Um, so a little bit, I would say, right?
A little bit. Considering how short of a time period we're talking about, that is a huge change because it's been what we're in August now, and it's been since 8 months since your diagnosis, around eight
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
So that's a profound change just to be able to flip things around that way.
Well, it's still a work in process,
Uh,
right?
yeah,
It's a work in process.
that's fair.
But
Yeah.
but but to be real, I mean, the change that I faced, it was not some gradual, gentle change.
Mm,
My world was jerked pretty hard, and so that's why I had to respond in kind. And I
you
was
had,
just blessed. I nobody does this stuff alone, and so
yes.
the support of my family, my wife, my sons, my close friends, right? All of them, every single one of them meant a lot to me. And so that's how this stuff gets done.
We always say it's so important to have a support system behind us. Um, and with that, we do have a limited time, so I do have to close things up, wrap things up. Um, John, this has been a fantastic interview. I really, again, I keep saying this again and again. I kept feeling the emotion in your voice whenever you read your poems. So I cannot thank you enough for coming on and sharing your experience living with prostate cancer, that battle that you went through and all the changes that it made for you. Um, to the audience, please, please go check out his book, Hammering Nails. We put a link right there in the chat. When this goes on YouTube, we will link it on YouTube as well. Um, John made the amazing announcement that he would like to donate the proceeds of this book for, is it for a limited time to ANCAN?
From now until the end of September, the net
There we go.
proceeds will I'll be donating that to
Yes.
ANCAN.
Thank you. Thank you. We cannot thank you enough for that as well.
Mhm.
So go buy a book, guys. Please don't forget the Solo Arts Heal tip jar. Again, we also have that link as well. People behind the scenes work very hard for that. So please donate to that if you can. And for the March, thank you so much for having us here and being able to share this platform with us. I want to promote my art class because we're talking about art, of course.
Totally. Tell me.
And I'm very much a visual person, okay? So I do teach the art classes once a month that we have here. So it's every third Thursday of the month. So you can sign up ahead of time for those art classes. You don't have to have any experience in art at all. I will guide you through the entire way with some wiggle room for creativity. So it's not all about following instructions. I like to tell people if you want to come and just have fun and not follow the rules, I'm here for it. I'm all for it. There's no rules. And I do want to be accessible to anybody who doesn't feel like they can't do art. We can find a way because I do feel like where there's a will, there's a way, and I'm here to guide you for that. Okay. So we do have that for mental health. Okay. So go ahead and there's a link in the chat for that as well. Did I miss anything? I don't think I did. Go check out our blog, everyone. Um,
Hannah, can I just say this?
yes, yes,
You were
please.
an awesome interviewer. You
Thank
did
you.
great. You were
Thank
terrific.
you.
Thank you.
That means a lot. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.